RAF bombing raid on the German capital, Berlin, was carried out on the night of the 25th-26th of August 1940 as a reprisal raid for the Luftwaffe's attack on London the previous night. It appeared later that the bombing of London was in retaliation for some of Bomber Command's night raids on Berlin in the last week of August.
You know, I find I don't mind this so much, with the RAF over Berlin giving them a dose of their own medicine.
Much of the bombing of the city has been centred on the port of London, damaging shipping and causing many civilian casualties. During September and October alone, 13,000 have been killed and some 20,000 injured. Although the Blitz was meant to lower the morale of the people of London, as time goes by, the bombing somehow seems to achieve the opposite effect, with Londoners even more determined than ever to keep the city going. For the RAF's night-fighting crews, the air war has been long and frustrating, with little to show for their labours. Radar was not developed enough at this time to be of much use to the Hurricane pilots who had had such successes in daylight. The same applied to the new Spitfires, who were given the dubious task of groping around in the dark with little to help them find the enemy bombers. Success has eventually come after patient wrestling with new technology. Airborne radar. The slow Defiant has been adapted and performs reasonably well as a night fighter with its two-man crew, but the new kit is not so easy to operate. Ground listening stations are still vital. The bombing of London was to last 56 days.
Here's something. This is more like it. Here they come. On sound! On sound! Hostile aircraft coming in northeast.
But London is not the only city to be targeted by the Luftwaffe. Industrial cities such as Coventry, Birmingham, Manchester, Sheffield and Glasgow are all attacked. As are Britain's ports and dockyards. In all areas hit by the onslaught from the air, the National Fire Service manages to contain the fires designed to spread through civilian neighbourhoods. Utter devastation. Lord Halifax, the Foreign Secretary, tries to boost Londoners' morale as he tours the devastated city, which continues to function against all odds. Day after day, the people of London clean up the mess as best they can. Night after night, many discover themselves homeless as dawn breaks, and they return to what is left of their homes after a night in the air raid shelters. Life for most Londoners at the end of 1940 has become a relentless routine of going to the shelters at dusk and sleeping or dozing through the night, listening to the air raid above them and emerging in the morning to see the extent of the damage. Some poor souls don't even make it to their shelters. The wounded are tended, and the police have the task of stopping any looters. It is estimated that from September 1940 to May 1941, some 43,000 British civilians have lost their lives in the Blitz. A version of the Blenheim light bomber manages to achieve some success as a night fighter during the Blitz. Together with the Defiant, the Blenheim pioneers British airborne radar. As early as 1938, the RAF was aware that it had no long-range escort fighters and no custom-made night fighters. The Bristol Company brought out its Beaufort that year and immediately saw the potential of adapting the design into the Bristol Bow Fighter. There were some concerns from the Air Ministry that such a large fighter might have maneuverability problems, but 4 prototypes were ordered and the first made its maiden flight in July 1939. The first successful night interception by the Beaufighter is on the night of November the 19th, 1940, when, equipped with the bulky AI air interception radar, it downs a Ju-88 twin-engine fast bomber. The Beaufighter becomes the most successful night fighter of the period, with the latest airborne radar and 4 hard-punching cannon which rip into the underside of the radar, sending him into oblivion. There is also a marked improvement in the ground control, which can guide the aircraft onto its target with ever more precision. On the 10th of May 1941, London suffered its final large-scale bombing attack of the Winter Blitz. The Luftwaffe dispatched 541 sorties, which killed 1,436 people, injured some 1,800, destroyed 5,000 dwellings, and gutted some 700 acres with incendiaries and high explosives. The defences knocked out at least 14 raiders. At dawn on the 22nd of June 1941, Hitler's generals launch Operation Barbarossa, the attack on Russia supported by some 60% of the Luftwaffe. This means a sudden easing of pressure on Fighter Command, which in turn allows the RAF to mount a restricted offensive campaign, with Fighter Command by day and Bomber Command at night. The training of air crews is still a priority, especially bomber crews. 217 Squadron is based here at St. Evelle with their Avro Ansons, named after the 18th century Royal Navy Admiral George Anson. St. Evelle is a busy airfield with Hurricanes and Blenheims sharing the facilities. The Anson Mark I entered service in February 1936 as a coastal patrol reconnaissance aircraft, with a manually operated enclosed gun turret mounting a single .303 machine gun. The Anson is powered by 2 Armstrong Siddeley Cheetah engines and is used in light transport and training roles. Most RAF and Commonwealth navigators, wireless operators and air gunners are being trained on Annies, which was the first monoplane in RAF service and also the first with retractable hand-cranked landing gear. On the 5th of September 1939, an Anson of No. 500 Squadron made the first RAF attack of the war on a German submarine. Following our close victory after the Battle of Britain, junkyards with a difference have sprung up across the country. The difference is that these scrap heaps are generally what remain of the German fighters and bombers that attacked our shores. People from all over the country are contributing to the war effort. At Crown Hill, for instance, a German Me-109 fighter is on display as a monument to Herr Hitler's stupidity. The aircraft is on display for all to see, and those who can afford even a farthing are contributing towards the Spitfire Fund, which will enable us to build more and more fighters, which in turn will help us to win the war.